what we can end up doing with AI is going into the doctor and having the doctor get a one-page executive summary on who you are prepared for by the AI. This is Brittany. Here's like how her heart has been over the last few months. Here's how her biomarkers are trending. Here's the issues that she's having. And here's my top 3 recommendations for what you could do next with her. The doctor can get that and be like, oh, I feel like I have a partner who is helping me take care of Brittany better than anyone else.
Well, welcome to Biohacking with Brittany, the podcast where science meets wisdom. I'm Brittany Ford, holistic nutritionist, biohacker, and mom. And for years, I struggled with gut issues, hormonal imbalances, and the exhaustion of motherhood while running a business. Biohacking and functional medicine became my way back to clarity, vitality, and trust in my body. And that's why I'm here, not just to share information, but to share the practices and perspectives that truly shifted my health and my life. Each week, I bring you science-backed tools, honest conversations, and rituals I live myself so you can return to your own body's wisdom and create longevity on your own terms. Because your body already knows this is just the space to remember. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I am so excited that you are listening to today's episode. I had the privilege of sitting down with Kirk Ouimet, and he is the CEO and founder of Phi Health, a wellness brand dedicated to improving performance, recovery, and health span. This was honestly one of my favorite conversations I've had in a very long time. And I don't say that lightly. I wasn't really sure where our conversation was going to go, kind of like how every episode is. But Kirk is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the future of health, AI, and how this is all going to integrate together. So after he sold his first company, Scan, to Snapchat for $54 million and spending 5 years shaping their product strategy, he turned his lifelong passion for optimizing human health into his mission. And we talk all about that. So we talk about his supplement called Stack. And this is a science-backed all-in-one daily supplement. Very cool, very nuanced, and very innovative in the packaging itself. So I show this on camera. If you're watching on YouTube, we talk all about like why they packaged it the way that they did. And it's like individual doses and it's in the small little beads instead of, taking a full large horse pill, essentially. So we talk all about that type of thing. But we also talk about his long-term plan with Phi Health and what they're bringing out in the fall. I think it's coming out in December, is how we can integrate our health data, our symptoms, how we're feeling, everything like that with AI. And I just love this discussion. This will be one of those episodes that I send to like my friends and my family. And I'm like, hey, I got to talk to this really cool guy and he taught me so much. That's exactly what this episode is. I think you're going to learn so much. Something that I've been thinking about a lot is where we're going in this health world. Wellness, personalized health, functional medicine, longevity medicine, and how do we bring tech into the conversation? Because whether we like it or not, this is what is happening. We have to embrace it and we have to really bring it in to help us optimize our health and our practice as practitioners as well. So we dive into that. We talk about his supplement. We talk about the future. And it was really cool to sit down and talk to him. He's a smart guy. He's a dad, showed me pictures of his kids, very down to earth. And it was such a pleasure speaking with him. I feel very honored. So thank you, Kirk, for coming on the show. I will definitely be in touch with you as your business and your brand develops as well. And before we dive in, a shout out to Pulsetto, talking about tech and health. Oh my gosh, Pulsetto is at the forefront of this. It's a device that you put around your neck. It vibrates and activates your vagus nerve. And so it really takes you from fight and flight to rest and digest in a matter of like 4 minutes. So it vibrates and it's almost like when we hum or when we sing, we activate our nervous system and our vagus nerve in that same way. And this device does that right on your neck. It's really cool. It's hands-free, so you can do it while you're changing a diaper or like going for a walk or I don't know, doing whatever you want in the morning. You're supposed to use it morning and night. And I've really found it's really helped me to feel more grounded as well. So that is Pulsetto. Use my discount code biohacking Brittany. It's linked in the show notes and on my website. And a quick shout out to my retreat that is happening in March. It is in Costa Rica. It's from March 2nd to 7th. There are some women coming, about 8 to 10 women, and this is the ultimate women's health, biohacking longevity retreat. I am so excited about this. I had a friend join last week. She's a mom of 3, okay? She's a mom of 3. And she's like, I need this reset. I need time away. I need to pour into my own cup so that I can flow into everyone else. So if that's calling you, if you're like, hey, I want to hang out with Brittany and some amazing women in Costa Rica in March, meet me there. I would absolutely love to have you join us. It would be such an honor. There's still a few spots left. It's filling up quickly. We're in October now. So, there's not too much time left, for planning and things like that. And I would absolutely love to have you. Other than that, enjoy this episode. Everything we talk about will be in the show notes or on my website, biohackingbrittany.com. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you soon for another one. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I am joined by Kirk Ouimet, and today we are diving into his health journey, why he started this really innovative supplement company. I've actually never seen anything like this, and I get a lot of supplements sent to me. So we're going to dive all into why you really formulated it in the way that you did, everything from like what's actually included in it, but also the packaging. And for everyone watching on YouTube or socials, I will show it as well directly so you can see it on camera. But Kirk, first of all, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm actually really excited just for the opportunity to share my story and kind of walk through how we ended up creating Stack and the motivations for it. So if you'd like, should I start out talking about my technical background? Maybe that'd be a good place.
Yeah. Well, anywhere you really want to start, because I'm just curious how you even went from Snapchat and tech to like focusing on health. Like that is a huge difference there. So like kind of what happened?
So I started a company roughly 10 years ago, and it was right when the iPhone was popping off. So the iPhone 3GS had come out, and it was like replacing all of the Blackberries and everything else. And me and my friends from college created an app called Scan, and it ended up getting roughly 350 million installs.
Wow.
So it was an app where you could scan QR codes and barcodes, and we were really good at figuring out how to use the camera on the phones to do image recognition. So Evan, the founder of Snapchat, his app opens right up to the camera, and he reached out to us and was like, I want to integrate scanning into the Snapchat camera. So that kicked off this adventure where I moved to LA. Snap acquired our company. And then I was in charge of the creative tools team at Snapchat. And so what that meant is anytime you take a picture on Snap, you can add filters, you can add faces, you can do these augmented reality effects on your face where you can turn into a puppy and all of that.
Yeah.
And so we had to figure out, all right, how do we use the camera on all these different devices, Android and iPhone, in order to apply these really cool effects? And that was a 5-year journey at Snapchat. When I joined, there were 60 people. And when I left, there were 7,000.
Wow.
So it was a huge adventure. But I think I learned lessons along the way that kind of really informed what I'm building now. When I retired from Snap, I was just thinking that I would just ride off into the sunset and be done. And I retired right before the pandemic. And so I kind of left Snapchat and then almost had a forced 2-year sabbatical where I just had to sit and think about like what I wanted to do next and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And after like lots and lots of just internal debate and thinking like, what is the most important thing that I can do with my time? It just really, really came clear to me that the best use of the rest of my life was to try to improve the mental and physical health of the people that I love so that we can enjoy life for as long as possible. And I couldn't think of a more important thing for me to do after debating over and over and over again. And so a couple years after leaving Snapchat, I incorporated Phi, and with the mission of the company being very clear, which is our goal is to figure out and try to make any contribution we can to improving the human health span. And are you familiar with that term, health span?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So Peter Attia kind of like, I don't know if he coined it, but he is like a pretty famous doctor who is really well respected. And it's this idea of we all are going to live a life, and it is possible to live a very long life, but not feel good for especially for the ending part. And health span is like, can we live a life where we feel good in our minds and in our bodies for as long as possible? And so I was like, all right, can we use technology and like my experience with Snapchat and building consumer apps at scale to actually be able to make a material improvement for not only myself, but the people that I love, and then of course everyone else. So that kind of kicked it all off, and I ended up hiring for the company. We raised $3 million from like the coolest investors. So I have just met so many people throughout my career. So, for example, like we have all of like the heads of product from Snapchat and Meta, some of the top engineers from Google, and of course like a lot of my favorite people that I worked with at Snapchat. So we so we incorporated the company, and then we have two parallel products that we're building. And you have on your desk the first one,
Mhm.
which is our physical product.
Mhm.
And I think we'll probably spend the entire time together talking about that. But later on, we're going to launch in December our app, which is basically you can imagine ChatGPT and Apple Health having a baby. So, how can I really talk to the best AI models about the details of my health and have that
Wow.
be private, secure, and really build a health record for the rest of your life where you can, and the AI is only going to get smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
So, for it to be able to watch over us and our health to me is a no brainer. And so, we're
Mhm.
building that now. It'll be ready pretty soon. I'm pretty excited
Mhm.
for it.
That's amazing. I actually definitely want to talk about that because that comes up again and again in my interviews is this idea of where is AI going and how is it going to integrate with our health? And where does that leave practitioners? Like, do we still need a doctor or a nutritionist or a or a fitness trainer, whatever it might be? I'm curious just on that point, like, how do you see all of that kind of integrating?
Well, the average time that you spend with a doctor is
Mhm.
typically due to some health problem that happened. In fact, our entire medical system in the United States is set up to be exception based, is what I would call it. And what that means is you're not going to do anything until there's a problem, and then you're going to go to the doctor. And so the doctors are putting out fires most of the time, unless you are prolific enough in looking at your health where you're going to be proactive and meet with a functional doctor or meet with like a specialist. And that requires you to typically pay out of pocket, typically not covered by insurance. And so I feel like my dream for where AI can help us is and what I want to build with Phi, and Phi is what we're calling our AI that you can interact with and talk with, is that I want to have the equivalent. We already talked about Peter Attia. I want to have the equivalent of a extremely expensive uh, MD who wakes up and thinks about you every hour, every day, and ponders and thinks about your health, your latest health data that's coming in,
Yeah.
and thinks about the health of your relationships, the health of your body, the health of your mind, also the health of those who are medically dependent on you, children and aging parents and partners, and thinks about you with, and the level of intelligence that these AI models are hitting is like if you think about doctors, they spend years, a decade training to learn, and they're typically focused in one area.
Mhm.
And with the AI, it's broad. It's general intelligence that is aware of all the different multifaceted aspects of health and they're all deeply interrelated. So if you think about going to a doctor, you're typically going to get 14 minutes with them where you're talking about your problem. 8 minutes of that's going to be chit chat. 6 minutes is going to be about here's what's going on with you. And then you're out the door and you're done. Like that is basically our interaction with medical professionals. And I think that what we can end up doing with AI is going into the doctor and having the doctor get a one-page executive summary on who you are prepared for by the AI. This is Brittany. Here's like how her heart has been over the last few months. Here's how her biomarkers are trending. Here's the issues that she's having. And here's my top 3 recommendations for what you could do next with her. And so the doctor can get that and be like, oh, I feel like I have a partner who is helping me take care of Brittany better than anyone else. And the way that's currently how AI is helping out on the software side on developing and writing programs is it's not replacing the experts. It's amplifying the expert's ability by 10 or even 100 times. So should mean that we end up getting way better care, way more proactive care. I know right now, and this is something that I feel a lot of, not anxiety, but maybe it is anxiety of like, I know that in our lives, someone in my life that I care about is going to have some medical issue. And I know that if I built what I'm building now, we could catch it years in advance, turn some major problem into like some small like discomfort. And so that's what AI offers, I think, on the health side. If we take advantage of it, it's going to be used in so many different ways. And there's ways that it's going to be used that are like deeply concerning. But I think as with like any technology, if we apply the right intent on it, it can really make our lives better. So I'm super excited about where that can go.
This episode is brought to you by Optimize Her, my women's biohacking retreat in Costa Rica, happening March 2nd to 7th, 2026. I am so excited, guys. This isn't just another yoga retreat. It's a 5-night, 6-day, science-backed health optimization woven into feminine restoration, designed specifically for women's bodies. We'll dive into functional medicine and longevity tools, experience healing sessions like sound baths and cacao ceremonies, and recalibrate with daily movement, spa rituals, and farm-to-table meals that support hormones, gut health, and vitality. It's not about fixing. It's about clearing the noise so you can actually tune into your body again. If you're ready for deep restoration and transformation, you can explore all the details in the show notes, and I would absolutely love to see you in Costa Rica. I love that, and I think you're spot on. I actually listened to a podcast about this a while ago, and someone asked a very similar question of like, what role will practitioners have with AI? And the person answered very similarly of like, the AI will be the assistant, but like humans still want to talk to humans about their health. They still want to like look someone in the face, even if it's over Zoom. They still want to feel like they're being heard and listened to. And I also wonder if there's like a level of trust there as well. Like I would totally be all over your software, but then I would also think, okay, maybe I take all this data and I talk to somebody else about it, or, you know, I run it through my own expertise, that type of thing. So I love the idea of it being an assistant, but I also don't think it will completely outrun everyone in the health practitioner space. I mean, not anytime soon, I hope, I guess.
Well, I feel like all the practitioners are just going to be able to benefit from it in one, understanding their patients more, and then two, in they themselves like being able to have an amazing resource to understand like all the new health issues that are coming out, or things that we can start to understand a little bit better. So yeah, I feel like if we can build it right, then one of the key things that I am really, really concerned about is privacy. And so if we think about the types of conversations, there's been memes that I've seen on the internet, on TikTok, of like, hey, if I die, just make sure no one reads my ChatGPT transcripts. Like, please, like, whatever, delete that. And to me, the relationship between human beings and machine intelligences is only going to become more and more intimate, and we're only going to be sharing more and more of the intimate details of our lives, possibly even more so than we would ever share with a human being, because
Mhm.
when you're talking to a machine, there is no judgment. It's it's a logical machine, and so you may be able to unload something that you're dealing with on the AI that you would never feel comfortable unloading on another human.
Mhm.
And that means that the kind of like impetus for privacy is super, super strong. So we've been working for the last year, and the first thing that we looked at is like HIPAA compliance. And HIPAA compliance to me is like we passed our first audit with like 0 issues. And it actually made me a little bit concerned because I felt like HIPAA's rules were actually fairly lax. So
Wow.
the way that HIPAA works is uh, you can employees at healthcare companies can learn the details of you. They just can't share them or talk about them. And for me, I want to go one step further, and the employees can't even know anything about you unless
Hmm.
it's absolutely necessary. And
Right.
so that to me, like, I don't want anyone in our company reading any of our users' chats. Like, that's just one of my rules is like, now, if you contrast that to what's going on with the current AI companies, they're storing all of your chats in plain text forever. Like that's yeah, so that's like currently their terms of service and privacy policy, how that works.
Mhm.
So we really got to thread the needle and find a balance between can you have a private conversation with Phi that you are confident is private and just between you and the AI, but then can we also balance that with being able to learn and improve the system? And so we have a bunch of ideas on how to get that done, but
Mhm.
like ultimately privacy is going to be a huge talking point, especially as the AIs learn more and more about us.
Yeah. And it's hard with health, right? Like that's such a sensitive topic for people. Um, I'm curious what your plan is for a patient's history of health. So I've had these conversations with multiple people of like bringing in AI, but the issue is that there are certain regulations where you can't actually take the data or information from past visits and actually put it into one central hub. So, for example, like if I wanted to upload all of the things my chiropractor has said about me for 5 years, but my chiropractor says, hey, I actually can't share that information with you. Like, I can't share the documents or something like that. Like, how can I build a very robust, accurate history of my health so that the AI can actually make proper recommendations, not just recommendations of like what I personally tell it?
This is music to my ears because like that's the entire goal of our company with the our AI product
Mm.
is so here's my like thesis. AI is only going to get more and more intelligent.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it really is going to make even the smartest human being look like an infant. We have seen this already over the last 30 years. The one of the big moments was when AI, and it wasn't even AI, it was actually a basic chess program is able to beat the best chess players in the world.
Hmm.
And you would think like, okay, the best strategist who understands the game of chess is like, and who's deeply in it and played it for 40 years of their life, they cannot come even close to beating the chess bots at all. And there was a game in that is played in Asia called Go, and it's way more complicated than chess. You actually can't use a program to run these simple rules to end up beating a human being. It requires like a way higher level of intelligence. And in what really kind of kicked off the entire AI revolution was Google had a team called DeepMind, and they trained an AI that played Go, this Asian board strategy game, against itself. And they spent a lot of compute having it play this game against itself. And then they brought their Go program to Asia. They called it AlphaGo. And they said, bring us the best Go players in the world and let's see how our AI does against them. And it destroyed them. So it was like, okay, we now know it's just proven that the computers are just going to be smarter than us, and they're going to be way, way, way smarter than us. And so I feel like the most important thing to give the computers, if they are this smart, is a full and extremely detailed and complete and well-structured and accurate medical record and say, here I am. This is me. Now, given everything that you know about me, help me live longer. And if it can destroy the best Go player and saying like, hey, what's the next move that I should make to win this strategy game? If we ask it, how can I live longer? Or how can I live healthier? Or how can I have better mental health or better physical health? The answers that it's going to have are going to be insanely good. And already people are using the existing AI tools and finding problems really quickly. So I think that we can just push that trend even further.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love this. Like, I would be all over this. I would upload, like, it is a huge pain point that I have right now. Honestly, as someone who's so into health and wellness, like, I've had my hormones and my blood and my stool, all these things tested with all these different companies over the last 10 years. And I'm like, okay, I just want it in one place. And I also want my medical records of like my pregnancy and my birth. And like, if I have another kid, can we like pull that with my blood data and like, make all these more informed decisions? I just wonder if like the government is going to be like, no, sorry, we're not ready for that yet because they're so slow. I don't know.
Actually, it's crazy. In the US, it's actually the opposite. So in the US, HIPAA, which is this healthcare regulation that regulates all of like patient doctor confidentiality, one of the P's in it is called portability. And what that means is that if you get an x-ray at a doctor in the United States and you try to go to another doctor, the doctor that took your x-ray does not own your x-ray, and they are legally obligated to give that to you and transfer it to the other doctor. And health data must be portable from care provider to care provider. And one of the great things about Apple Health and Google Health is when you sign into our app, you can have very fine-grained controls around what information do I want to share, and it's all built for sharing. And so I feel like the structure is there for us to be able to do it. Now the task is organizing it all. And just kind of like a fun little story. When I named our company Phi, I named it after the golden ratio, which is, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but a lot of designers are really intimately familiar with this idea of the golden ratio. And what it is it's a ratio that when you use it in design or in photography, it makes things look very naturally proportioned. And you find the golden ratio embedded in seashells and leaves and all throughout nature. And so I thought it was really cool that there was kind of like this math that was driving our reality of nature. And I thought that really like our goal with the AI is to be able to take the math that runs our bodies and figure out how to improve it. And so I was like, well, name the company Phi. I think that's like a really cool concept. And then 6 months into the company, we started studying all of the HIPAA regulation. And the key term in HIPAA, like the most important term of it all, is PHI, which stands for protected health information. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's like insanely serendipitous. So my dream is to build the most secure and useful health record for everyone who uses our app. And then what's really nice is because like right now, what's happening with the whole field of AI is all these different companies are competing and they are throwing everything they have at building the best AIs possible. Zuckerberg went and said it's worth $200 billion to not miss being right on AI. So we're talking significant dollars are being thrown behind it. It's a very competitive space, which is really good for consumers because it means we have all kinds of options. And so just to share a story, I have a 12-year-old. His name's Jack, and he plays football. He got in a horrible accident where his coach stepped on his leg while they were in a practice and broke both bones in his calf. And it was bad. And it was like it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been thinking about, and it goes back to what you're asking for, is Jack, I should have a record of all of his doctor's visits related to his broken leg and all the x-rays. And I have belief that his accident that he had at his age now could impact his life when he's 17, 18, 19. What if he ends up having migraines consistently because as he was regrowing the and reconnecting the bones in his leg, that didn't form right, which caused his gait to be slightly shifted off, which caused like all of this tension in his back. The AI would be able to suss that out way easier
Yeah.
than any human being. Because it would have that context of like Jack broke his leg when he was 11 playing football. And now we're starting to see the results of that later on in life. And so having that accurate record, I think is going to be a really, really big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a pain to organize it. So we're going to try to make it easy.
Ladies, let's talk about stress. As women, we carry so much work, family, hormones, motherhood, and it often shows up as anxiety, poor sleep, and burnout. That's why I use Pulsetto. It's a sleek device you wear comfortably around your neck, and in just minutes, it stimulates your vagus nerve, the control center that tells your body, you're safe, you can relax. And what I love about this is actually how simple it is. No supplements, no complicated routines. Just put it on, press start, and feel your body shift out of stress mode within 4 minutes. It's actually incredible. I use mine when I'm winding down at night, when I'm anxious before a big meeting or a podcast episode, or even when I'm traveling. Pulsetto helps you reset your nervous system so you can feel calm, sleep better, and show up as your best self. Because let's be honest, we deserve to feel good in our own bodies. I know you guys love Pulsetto. You asked me so much about it in my DMs, so you can use my discount code biohackingbrittany. This will help you save at checkout and give your nervous system the reset it's been craving. Yeah, it's a huge undertaking. Like it's a huge undertaking because even I think about using your app or the AI and I would be like, okay, 32 years of my life. Okay, let me collect all my data. How many people have I seen for my health? And then I'm going to contact them and be like, hey, can you send me my records? And then I'm going to upload it. Do you know what I mean? Like, which is fine. I would be happy to do that. But would the average person be happy to do that? Or if they're maybe double my age and they're like, okay, so now I have to upload 60 years of my health records? I don't know.
We're going to try to make it easy. So I have an answer. So what we're going to do is, and here's what's kind of silly. Let's say you go to the ER for some issue. They're going to put like a blood pressure cuff on your arm and grab a sample of your blood pressure. And really, maybe they'll run some labs, run some tests, but really like they're not gathering that much information. And and the information they do gather is like pretty much just like raw numbers. And I think so much of our health is beyond the raw numbers of like what's going on. And what it really is our subjective experience of being in a body. And so when you onboard, Phi is going to be able to interview you. And it's going to say, hey, let's talk about, you just had a baby. Can we talk about, and can you just tell me about your first trimester? What's everything that you remember? Were you nauseous? How often did you get sick? What was your diet like? Like, let's just talk to me. And as you're going through each interview with Phi, as you're going through it, it's going to be collecting and creating structured health information from your conversations. And so it's going to log, oh, you had like really bad migraines while you were pregnant. Like, okay, we don't know how useful that is, but let's record it. And so through natural conversation, whenever you're feeling like talking, is going to be a really, really good way to gather a health record, at least anecdotally. And we have a big problem, like, and one of the things that I think that we need to do with predictive health is I know right now there's blood tests that you and I can do that we should probably do that would tell us some key insight about what's going on as we age. The problem is I went through this exercise with my CSO, John Paul, and I said, go look at every blood test that's possible to do. And then let's just see if we can figure out how to do them all. And there's services now. There's one service called Superhuman. There's another one that's Function Health. And they offer you the ability to go get these kind of like bulk testings done. Mm-hmm. But if I wanted to do a full diagnostic on you and I wanted to gather every single known test that I can do against your blood and send that to every lab and have them do each total unique test that's possible to do, the cost to do that is well over $250,000. And not only that, the majority of the tests would not be that useful. So ideally, what Phi does is it talks to you and gathers this information about you. And maybe there's the human body degrades in a gradient that's really slow. So it'll start out and maybe you're like, well, you know what? My knee has been hurting just slightly. It doesn't bother me too much, but it's been bugging me. You would never get to a threshold where you're going to go talk to a doctor about it,
Mm-hmm.
but it started happening. And so you're like kind of annoyed by it, but also there's not really anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in that instance, when you're doing a check-in with Phi, you just be like, hey, just so you know, my knee's hurting and it's kind of bugging me. I don't feel like I need to go into the doctor for it, but I'm just letting you know. And now we have a record of that. And over time, the AI is then going to be able to be like, honestly, this is kind of an issue and you need to get this particular test done. And and you can do it now. You can book it right here through this provider, or you can go make an appointment with your doctor. And I think that's what predictive health looks like is I'm having some issue. I want to tell the AI very early. It's not worth wasting a doctor's visit on, but let's gather the data as soon as we can and then take action on it way faster than we normally would. I feel like in my life, I'm 41 years old. I feel like the number of times I've let a health issue fester, it's like almost all of them. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard. Like it has to be a real serious situation for me to go to the doctor for it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart. Because it's actually not just blood tests, right? Like having our genetics tested is also really helpful. Having our microbiome tested, like I just had my whole family done again. Um, and that data is really useful. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so we had our microbiome done and it's a snapshot of what it is right now. A month from now, or even a week from now, it's going to be different. Same with my,
possibly,
yeah.
possibly later on in the day.
Exactly. Exactly. So it is helpful to get tested and have those data points, but at the same time, we can't constantly be testing like to just be that up to date with our health, right? So there's like a line of the data is useful, but how do we not overdo it? And accessibility and affordability is a massive issue here. Like I just did an interview last week with 100 Health, which is a competitor to Function Health.
Yeah.
And they are testing for 100 different biomarkers and they're incorporating AI, biological age, and wearable data, right? So, like my Aura Ring or my Garmin watch, and which is really cool. But at the same time, it's like the average American, can they afford these services? Right? Like,
No,
no, right? And so it's like, I don't know. And this is like a whole other debate, but I almost feel like wellness and optimal health and biohacking is like a very um elite thing at this point.
it is. And we're going to
Yeah.
democratize it. So maybe that's actually a segue to talk about Stack and like how
Yeah.
Stack what I'm doing. So we should all like bookmark talking about DNA because I have some stories there.
Okay.
So this is our first physical product that we created,
Hmm.
and it's called Stack. And basically, the goal here was we have just like we have the problem with testing, we have a problem with supplementation, which is how many different things am I supposed to ingest every day? There's thousands, possibly tens of thousands, maybe even more. And just just take magnesium, for example. There's 12 forms of magnesium. So which form of magnesium do I need? Why? How much? What form factor? What purity? When? It's like very, very complicated.
Hmm.
And the problem looks very, very similar to serving ads to someone on social media. So let me explain.
Hmm.
Or let's do like ranking your feed. If you're like an Instagram user or you're on TikTok and you want to open the app and you want to like what the app's goal, it's playing chess against you. And it's trying to say, okay, I need to steal as much of this person's time as I possibly can get because that's how the social media companies work. They need your time. So
Hmm.
there's game and like it's getting dangerous on TikTok. So at Snapchat, when I left the company, the average time that someone would spend in the app per day was 42 minutes per day.
Okay.
And that's primarily about like messaging. TikTok, average time in app per day. Can you guess?
Oh, it's definitely more than that.
3
Maybe.
hours, 20 minutes. That's
Wow.
sanity. And that's because every time you open up TikTok, you are doing battle against their AI. And their AI is saying, I know exactly how to pace you with content that's going to keep you in here. Here's cats playing and being really cute. Here's a conspiracy theory. Here's some political turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some silly stuff. I got you. And you're like, dang, I've been on TikTok a long time watching this. Like, it's so addicting.
Yeah.
And so I feel like these AIs are very, very good at the root problem that we have here is there is millions of pieces of content. So how do I take the millions of pieces of content that I can show Brittany and reduce it down into 15, 20, 30 videos that she's going to watch for the next 3 hours? And so that's a huge problem. And it's called signal versus noise. So we have noise, which is a million videos I could show you. And the signal is what are the videos that are going to get you? So we can apply this exact same problem solving approach to supplementation. We have thousands and thousands of things that you can ingest. Now, the question is, what are the things that are going to make me feel the best? What form of magnesium, what form of calcium, how much vitamin D, all of that. So the way that you solve that problem is the very first thing that you need to do is you need to be able to give someone a treatment. So like basically send someone something to take, and then you need to gather feedback from how it makes them feel. And up until 2025, nobody's done this. You do clinical trials where you have 9 people that are barely compliant with something for a 3-month window. At scale, no one has sent out vitamins and minerals to people and gathered directly their subjective experience of what it was like to take those products and the data from it. And so you mentioned Oura Ring before. The CEO of Oura Ring is one of our investors. His name is Harmony, and he's just the coolest guy. He is revolutionizing healthcare in India right now. But we need to take data from every single data source that we can get. What's really nice and convenient is Apple's done a great job with Apple Health at ingesting and summarizing all that data, but we can build connectors to other data sources as we need. But my dream is that you're going to get Stack and you're going to take it and you're going to connect to our app, and you're going to start sending this feedback, both with you talking to Phi about it's like, how did you sleep last night? Oh, I slept poorly, or I slept pretty good, or okay, let's learn more about it. And then ultimately, we'll use that data to train our AI to understand which supplements, vitamins and minerals and other compounds, how they affect you and how they make you feel. And I believe, so I'm on kind of like a journey here, because at Snapchat, we had 350 million, 400, 500 million people using the app every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So we rolled out an experiment of like, hey, will people do this or that when we show them these screens? We would know in 10 minutes with very high statistical accuracy whether or not something was working or not working. With supplementation and the human body, it's going to take years. Now, there's some things that we'll know and be able to learn like very quickly. I'll give you an example. So where we started out now with Stack is the very first thing that we had to solve was the form factor. And I met with all of these nutritionists. I met with nutritionists at Harvard. And the consensus in the community essentially was vitamins are expensive P, supplements are a waste of money. And the real legit people are basically saying your diet's where you got to focus. And that's true. So we dove in and we studied, and I asked my CSO, is there an actual form factor for vitamins and minerals that can actually be absorbed by the body and not be peed out? And this was a solved problem in the pharmaceutical industry in the 90s. So when you're taking a drug, you need that drug to get into your bloodstream in order to be effective. And so they were doing these tests with rats, and they were trying to figure out if we put powder in rats' water and they drink it, is it actually going into their bloodstream? And they found that the kidneys and filtration systems of the body are very good at filtering out stuff that is not naturally found in food in that certain way. So most supplements are like a clump of powder that is like pressed into a pressed pill or put into a veggie cap. And the body is just going to throw that out. That is not normal way of getting, like, it wants meat and leaves and roots and all, real food. And that's how it's like designed to process it. And so, what the scientists figured out as they studied this is that if you take something that you want to be absorbed in the body and into the bloodstream like a drug, you wrap it in this plant fiber shell that is very similar to how you would when you're eating like leafy greens and things like that. And if you wrap it in this purified plant fiber shell, imagine, so like take for example that I want you to be able to absorb magnesium. So what we would do is we would take magnesium and you roll it like a snowball in this purified plant fiber. And the longer that you roll it in the purified plant fiber, the thicker the coat of plant fiber goes on it. And that can control when it will release in your system. And so this is used constantly in pharmaceuticals to make pharmaceuticals be absorbed and efficacious in the body. So we took that concept and that was invented in the 90s, and we applied it to every vitamin and mineral that the United States government has put on all of the packaging that says you need this every day, because it's called daily value requirements. And so if you look on the back of any like food package in the US, you're going to see, okay, this has 80% of your vitamin B or whatever. Well, the reason those numbers are established is because if you don't get those over a prolonged period of time, you're going to get a nutrient deficiency problem. If you don't get enough vitamin C, you're going to get scurvy. If you don't get enough calcium, you're going to get osteoporosis. Like, we've figured that out. And so we've established these things. But as a starting point, we've got to figure out, if we don't know the right answer because we don't have enough data, then we have to start somewhere. And so that's what our initial formulation is the stack baseline formulation is 22 of the most important vitamins and minerals that are proven by decades and decades of research that we actually need. So we're not putting any weird exotic stuff in there. We're not doing ashwagandha. We're not doing turmeric. We're not doing curcumin. We're not doing NAD. We're not doing anything like wonky. And the other thing too is it's a very combative space because the supplement industry is basically a glorified marketing machine. They are not in the industry of actually solving the problem of what we should bring into our body. They are in the business of moving pills and powders at very high margin. That's just what it is. Like, and like, I learned that, like, my first experience, I was like, okay, we're going to make our own multivitamin, which is an insane thing to think about, even like that we did it. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what do I need in my body? Okay, vitamin A. If you don't have that, like, you're going to have like skin problems, all this other stuff. So I looked and I was like, I'm going to buy a raw bag of vitamin A powder and I'm going to figure out like how much I need of it. I'm going to make my own multivitamin just in my kitchen. So I bought a kilogram of vitamin A in a bag. It cost me $25 and it shipped to me. And then I got a scale, a milligram scale. And then I was like, okay, let me dose my vitamin A for the day manually. And I looked at the dose of vitamin A that I needed, which is 35 micrograms. I didn't know what a microgram was versus a milligram. So a microgram is 1/1,000,000th of a gram, and a gram is like maybe like the tip of your pinky.
Right.
It is not visible to the human eye. So when I opened the vitamin A bag and breathed in, I overdosed on vitamin A.
Oh.
It's, and I was trying to use tweezers. You can't grab a microgram with tweezers. Like, you need extremely specialized machines to do this. And a lot of the vitamins and minerals that we take are dosed in micrograms. Vitamin D, 20 micrograms. All the B vitamins, like fractions, like we're talking like 3-5 micrograms. The body, and to me, I was like arguing with my scientists. I'm like, this is not even enough. How could this even do anything to me? How can a microgram that is not visible to the human eye actually have any effect in my body? And he's like, the body is crazy. Tiny amounts of things can have a major, major impact. And the way that the circulatory system diffuses this across every cell in your body is like basically a miracle. But it's true. If you don't get 20 micrograms of vitamin A every day, you're going to have a problem. And so then I started looking at all the different pills that I had, because I had 25 bottles in my closet And I was like, I am not taking the vitamins and minerals. I'm eating carbs. 99.999% of all of the pills and powders that I'm taking are not the actual active ingredient that I'm trying to get, because the active ingredient is barely visible to the human eye. And so some companies lean into that and they give you a giant pill,
Yeah.
but just to make you feel like you're like getting something more. So we figured out the form factor and we created these micro pills that use micro-encapsulation so that you have to swallow the least amount of material possible, and so that it'll be released at the right time in your bloodstream as it should. And so in each dose of stack are 2,000 micropills. And we went just full focus on when should this stuff release and when should it not. So for example, in the night stack, when you take it, we have these multi-layered coatings that are all pure plant fiber. So it's like, actually, we need more plant fiber anyway. So the coating is this plant fiber, and what it does is it prevents your stomach acid from breaking down and getting to and filtering out what you need. And then we have 2 phases that we designed. So the first phase is going to run over 4 hours. So you'll take your night stack after dinner, and in the first phase of the night stack, we start to slow drip calcium for 4 hours into your bloodstream. Calcium is a natural precursor to melatonin, way safer and better than directly taking melatonin. Like melatonin, I believe, like, because we looked at all of the stuff that you could put into a night supplement. Melatonin is like a very aggressive solution to the problem and has like quite a few side effects and can be dosed incorrectly, like very easily. Like what the body wants and what it needs and what it's lacking is the calcium that is needed to make melatonin naturally so that you can fall asleep. And so babies, before they go to bed, they drink milk, and milk is rich in calcium, and it helps soothe them and it helps them fall asleep faster. Uh, then we looked into the science of magnesium, and magnesium is really, really good at one, increasing REM sleep and giving you better dreams, which dreaming is an entire adventure in. If you're not dreaming, you'll go insane. And so, and I don't know if you knew that with like maybe just having a child and what that does to our sleep, but like if you're consistently denied REM sleep, you will go psycho. And
Mhm.
so what magnesium does is magnesium helps your brain get into deeper states of REM sleep and deeper states of deep sleep. And however, it competes with absorption with calcium. So in the science and all in what we looked at in the papers, if you take your calcium at the same time that you take magnesium, those two will compete for absorption and be absorbed less. And so what we did is we put a 4-hour delay on magnesium. So you don't need to think about it. You just take the night stack. We do 4 hours of calcium, and then 4 hours later, we do 4 hours of magnesium. And you can think about all this complexity. We need products that are designed to handle this level of complexity, because we're not going to do it right ourselves. Like it's just too much of a pain to figure out, oh, I'm not going to wake up at midnight and take magnesium. So like, for example, there's one more that we found, which was a combination of vitamin C and iron. So what we found is if you take iron, but you don't take vitamin C, your iron absorption is 8% of what it should be. So it's
Wow.
almost not worth taking iron. So if you're anemic or if you're feeling the symptoms of anemia and you go and take iron to try to deal with that, the doctor will normally say drink orange juice with it or make sure you like get some type of vitamin C. Otherwise, it's not really going to do what it's supposed to do. So for us in the day stack, we have a bead of iron and then we have a bead of vitamin C, and those release at the same time.
Smart.
And problem solved. Now, there's a bigger problem, which is, okay, what form of magnesium you're going to give me? Because there's 12 forms that we talked about. And so we went deep into the science of that. In the day stack right now, we're doing magnesium L-threonate, which is a newer form factor of magnesium. It's quite expensive if you buy it by itself. If
Hmm.
you want good pure form of magnesium L-threonate, it's going to be $80 minimum. on if you're buying it online. But if you take magnesium L-threonate at night, it actually can cause extremely lucid dreams. And so we experienced that as we were like going through the different formulations. And it's like, okay, magnesium L-threonate is good for the day, but at night I'm having very intense dreams. It's too. So we went through 4 of the different forms of magnesium and finally landed on magnesium glycinate for the night. But we still have another fundamental problem that we haven't solved, which is how much. And in all reality, we should all be dosed based on body weight. If we wanted a perfect thing, your dose of magnesium glycinate should be different than mine. So the whole plan of Stack, and I've been just ranting about it, so I let you have a chance. But the whole plan of Stack is let's figure it out with perfect accuracy. It's going to take us 10 years to do it, and we're going to need hundreds of thousands of customers. But I want to iterate through every single ingestible and figure out mathematically, this is exactly what you need for the day. This is exactly what you need for the night. And if you get that, you're going to feel these ways. And I know that we can solve it. So it's just a matter of us going through the exercise.
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
I love all of this. And I actually was thinking about personalized health and how this is all going to link together, because everything you said makes sense, but we are also uniquely different. It's not even just about weight, it's age, gender, if you're a parent, if you're breastfeeding and postpartum, all of these things, right? And I just wonder, how can we make a supplement like yours that has so much research and thoughtfulness and the absorption and everything that you're talking about, but make it personalized to me so that my formulation looks very, very different than yours or my husband's or my kids. And so I actually had this conversation about a month ago with somebody where they were talking about developing something that would be at home in your toilet, where every morning you actually pee into this toilet and it analyzes your pee and it says, okay, Brittany, today your B12 is actually pretty low. Like it gives you a full nutrient breakdown of like, this is high, this is low, this is optimal. And then like spits out your supplements. So it's like, okay, here's your personalized stack. Have a great day. So is there something like that in your future where you're like, hey, here's an at-home way to test and here is the personalized supplement that you need, which would be insane, but like would actually be very accurate?
That's the only way that we'll solve the problem is if we build that. And so with Stack, you're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but inside of each capsule are 2,000 of these micro pills. And so we have a really challenging manufacturing problem. And what I want to do and what we're in the process of designing to build out is we're going to be able to drop one bead, they're 0.5 millimeter in diameter. These are very tiny. And for me, I have a very narrow esophagus, so it's easy for me to choke. So that's just really important for me that I can swallow it easy. But as your stack is going to get filled up, custom to you, we're going to be able to drop one bead in at a time. So for power users of our product, they're going to be able to go into the app and drag and say, I want this many micrograms of vitamin D. I want this many micrograms of vitamin C. I actually want 10x the vitamin D that you would normally give me. And so like you can go in and tweak and customize it. And then as your capsule's getting filled, it's going to be like, cool, with Brittany, we need to do 100 beads of vitamin D instead of 10. And so it'll go through and automatically do it. What's interesting is it's an extremely difficult manufacturing problem because the things are so tiny and accuracy needs to be so high. But I've been now to 4 different trade shows for all of the different healthcare manufacturing technology. And I found a solution, which is like came from a weird place, but Monsanto, the company that makes genetically modified food, they actually have paid for and have a machine that will count the genetically modified seeds that are dropped, and they're tinier than our micropills. And they use that to bill the farmers because they charge like $5 or $20 a seed sometimes. So it's like pretty expensive. So we can use the optical and laser technology that does the counting of the seeds as they drop. And instead of applying that to seeds, we'll be able to apply it to our micropills. so that we can accurately count, cool, this is exactly how many beads dropped. And then I met a company that was able to figure out how to measure with microgram level accuracy, which requires and it's very difficult to do that, but they've solved it. We'll be able to check and confirm that everyone's capsules, that you got exactly what you wanted, and laser and optically verified, and then also weight verified at the end.
Right.
So it's going to be a big project. The build out for that is $5 million just to get it started. And so it's going to be a project, but we'll get it done. Give me 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing. And like, obviously, as you know, there's so many companies now that are doing personalized supplements. Like, where you do your gut microbiome tests and they send you like the little baggie and they're like, here's your 30-day supply. Um, and I think it's a step in the right direction. But again, I come back to the same idea of like 30 days from now, I'm different. And especially with women with a menstrual cycle, I'm definitely different.
That afternoon, you're different. You're right on
Yeah.
that. So you can't be dosing me for the next 30 days, or even, this is even bigger pharmaceuticals. Let's say that you go in and you have some issue with your heart that is temporary, but now you're on some heart medication for years.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff, I think happens all the time. So I think you just being aware of it is like, it's something that we're deeply aware about. And it's kind of like the goal of our whole product is we can solve it. I know we can.
Right. So then would you send out a new stack once a week?
So we're going to do the dream here is that you're going to get a monthly subscription that every month that it comes, it'll have a change log of what's changed in it. And I think what we found is it's less about what are you deficient in the morning versus the afternoon. And it's more of do you have the minimum of what your body needs to function correctly? And so when it comes down to like dosing, we can in the box do something where every other day and night is completely unique in a predictive way. So for example, let's talk about like the menstrual cycle. We know that during the menstrual cycle, we're going to be losing iron due to blood loss. So what we can do is we can titrate iron up the week of your menstrual cycle and then drop it back down. And so that is going to be when we get customization, that allows us to do every other day or cycle something on and then cycle it off. And when we were looking at L-theanine and adding that to the night stack, it is pretty well proven that L-theanine can help you relax and fall asleep and have good sleep. But if you take L-theanine 3 nights in a row, its efficacy goes to almost zero. So if you're going to use it, you got to mean it. And so one of the things that we can do once we have customization is we can say, we're going to L-theanine you on Wednesday and Saturday, or like whenever, like let's apply it intelligently. And so that's kind of the goal, is that if we can get the day level accuracy, but then we have the fundamental problem of like shipping you a box that's like getting it to you on a monthly basis. So we'll solve that problem with a combination of predictive, like what you should have, and then probably a mix of boosters and things like that. So
Yeah, it's really smart, right? And especially if you add in the layer of AI of like, Mondays are harder for me. I'm more stressed at work and it's harder for me to sleep on a Monday night. Okay, so that's the night that gets the L-theanine. Like, that's the type of thing that makes sense. On the weekend, I'm chilled out. I don't need these extra things to help me sleep because I'm sleeping fine. Like, that's the conversation that we're not really seeing right now at all, right?
And letting you pick and letting the AI just know about you. I'm pretty excited. The at-home fulfillment of being able to like at home dose you and then give you a custom dose for that given day would be really challenging. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think that would be maybe 2040 tech. But we'll have to earn it, like the whole thing is just an order of operations. First, we have to do our baseline formulation that is actually bioavailable and actually absorbable. Then step number 2, let's do customization at the month level. And then we'll just keep iterating it until we make it better and better.
Yeah. I do think it's coming though. Like, even way down the later, I do think it's coming. And it almost feels like it's part of like a futuristic movie that I'm like seeing in my head, where I pee in a toilet and it just gets like, I don't even have to think about it, which would be amazing.
Right. Ideally, you come up to the Phi machine on your countertop, and then It prepares the capsule for you. It
Yeah.
labels it with exactly what you need, and then you take it, and then you pop it, and
Yeah.
you go
Great.
on. But we do have there's just some logistical problems because I don't know how many components we're going to end up needing. Right now, we're at 22, which is a huge pain. It's
Mm.
extremely difficult to manufacture. What we've made is more like difficult to create like a pharmaceutical versus just throwing some powders into a pill. It's like
Totally.
really, really sophisticated, but it's going to get harder and harder as the count of things go up that we need. And so we don't know what that answer is. Like it may be that we want to ingest 500 different compounds a day. I don't
Mhm.
know. We're going to learn. Maybe it's going to be 30, maybe it's going to be 100. So and what's cool is like if you follow our journey, we're going to post publicly all of the research that we gather with our community.
Oh.
And so like for example, like after we get our first level of customization, one of the things that I really want to test is beetroot powder.
Hmm.
So apparently the nitrates in beetroot powder are really good for heart health.
Mhm.
But how much should you get? What's the real impact? All of that. So you'll get a push notification in our app and it's going to say, "Hey, Brittany, we're doing a beetroot powder trial. Do you want in?" And then you're going to be able to opt in, yes or no. And then what we're going to do is we're going to watch all of the people who have opted in and haven't, and we're going to watch your heart rate variability, perceived exertion, all of that. And then we're going to publish that information a month, 2 months, three months out. And we're going to say, cool, we rolled out beetroot powder to 6,000 people. Here's what happened to their hearts. Here's what happened in women. Here's what happened in the elderly. Here's what happened in the young
Mhm.
adult. Like this is what's been
Yeah.
going on. And we'll be able to iterate through every single ingestible that we can and publish that information.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will go back to my root desire of what I want to do, which is can we improve the human health span? And I feel like we can if we
Mhm.
apply technology in the right way that is aligned with humanity and not opposed to us. I love TikTok. I scroll through it and I love it. I don't know if it's healthy for me to do that.
Yeah.
I know that let's have the AI kind of like have our back on something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Oh, I think that's incredible. And I think you're taking the right approach of kind of like bringing everything in together. Yeah. And also just like having the data come out so fast rather than doing a clinical trial for 2 years. And then we've already advanced so far beyond that. Like the way that research is done right now in the health and wellness space is just kind of like old school. Like we're advancing too quickly. Like we need more data than what is actually being produced. And obviously we see that because women weren't allowed in medical studies until 1993. So there's actually not even that many research studies that have been done on women's health. Um,
And can you imagine? Can you imagine maybe all of the daily value requirements that have been established up until now are not even like that? Like that may not be looking at really that accurate of a breakdown. So for me, I think that women have been deeply underserved by just by the medical community as men have been the primary subjects that have been tested and studied. The way that I think the future goes is that we make it just completely ubiquitous across all different types, because women aren't studied that well, the elderly aren't studied that well.
Mhm.
We just need to study everyone equally, and
Yeah.
so what that means for me, and it's challenging because now I have to go to the market and I have to say whoever my user base is going to skew my data, and so I need a wide range. I need a wide range of all human beings to be taking stack so that I can have better data. And so we'll have to factor that in. But we're just starting out marketing and building the
Yeah.
company, and like it's been an adventure. I'm really proud of our first go to market product. The feedback that
Mhm.
we're getting on it is very strong. So as long as we can continue to build up our user base, we'll be able to hit all of our
Yeah.
goals.
Oh my gosh. It is amazing. It is really amazing what you're doing. Um, Thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been so interesting. If people want to try Stack or they want to get on your app when it comes out in December, I think you said, for Phi, um, where can they do that and how can they find you?
So right now, our website is phi.health, and that's phi.health.
Mhm.
And what I can do is I can create a code for everyone who listens, and they can get a little bit of a discount when they do their first order through you. And
Perfect.
we can share that out. And yeah, I'm really excited for just being able to learn and meet more people like you.
Mhm.
And my dream is if I can get you your personalized supplements by the end of this decade, I have 5 years, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Oh, I love the ambition. That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much. I'll put that in the show notes and on my website so everyone can find you easily. This has been great, and I'm excited to watch your journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. Nice to meet you. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Biohacking with Brittany. I hope today's conversation gave you something to take into your own life, a practice, a perspective, or simply a reminder to trust your body. If you love this episode, please leave a review, share it with someone else who could benefit, and join me over on Instagram at biohackingbrittany for more. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can explore my retreats, community, favorite tools, all linked for you in the show notes. Until next time, remember, your body already knows.